Mama, welcome to Fun Rich Mom. I'm Mitch Blackford. Good times today because we are talking about vision boards. And you might be thinking to yourself, Mitch, we're like already to the end of January. Why are you bringing this up now? Well, because usually this is about where people start falling off the resolutions bandwagon. And here's the deal. There is never a bad time to make a vision board and to get started with getting excited about where you want to go in your life. So that's why I wanted to do it right now. So also I just did a little speech at a locally where we got into vision boards and I just had so much fun with it. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about. So that's why we're diving in today. So if you are ready, make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to give you a little tweak that makes all the difference in making this stuff happen. So with that, let's get started. By the way, if you are watching on YouTube, welcome to my guest room. I moved locations because I have a desk in here and I was doing some work and then I just got lazy. So I just set everything up in here. We'll get back to my room later, but that's the change in location. So welcome. This is where you would stay if you hung out at my house. Okay, so let's get into this vision board stuff. Some of you might be like super excited, like, I swear by these things, they're great. Some of you might be like, I have tried those and they do not work. It's just stupid and I'm not crafty. So no matter where you are on this spectrum, I want to tell you these things can be amazing and life-changing, but there's a couple of tweaks that you got to do to really make sure that they work for you. So I had done vision boards earlier in my life and I kind of had the same thing where I would just look at it and be like, oh, and it never happened. And I was kind of like, do I want to stick with these things? Well, let's fast forward then backwards from when I was younger to fast forward, but backwards from now to 2010. You know, if you've been with me for any amount of time, you've probably heard me say it before. 2010 was kind of like this benchmark year where life changed for me. I went from being single for 8 years. I'd been overweight. I'd been broke, like all of this stuff. And literally it was just like within a matter of a year or two, just my life was drastically different. And this was the year that I made a vision board where I implemented these tweaks. And to this day, stuff is still coming true from it. So that's why I get so excited about it, because when you know how to make it in a way that really propels you forward and things start coming true off of it, man, it gets really exciting. Okay, but before we begin, we have to get ourselves in the right frame of mind, because a lot of the times we come into this like, I got a couple magazines. I really don't know. These pictures aren't really inspiring me. Does this stuff really work? That is the absolute wrong place to start. You may as well just walk away, drop it. Don't do it right there, because that energy that you are bringing to it matters. And so we want to start with having a peak state. So if you've been with me before, like I said, we have probably covered this, your base. What is the base that is making you strong, right? Every building has a strong base, a strong foundation. Otherwise, they're going to crumple. Same thing here. So we want to start with our strong base. I'm just going to go over it really quickly. I'm not going to get too in depth, but I really want you to have this so that before you get into your vision board, you can put yourself in this place that is exciting, that is going to propel you forward with the vision that you want. So we start off with B, which is for your body. This is your baseline. This is the beginning of base, right? B, body. If your body is slumped and you're not breathing well, you're not oxygenating the front part of your brain. You're not giving yourself any oxygen, which is food for our brain to think, to have fun, to play, to create. And so the first thing that you want to do anytime you're in a funk is change how your body is. Look at your posture. Look at, am I shallow? Am I bent over where it's hard for me to actually take a deep breath so I can't get that blood circulating? Or, am I with my shoulders back so I can get that deep breath? Have I created some movement so that the blood starts pumping so I'm getting that fresh blood in with that nice oxygen and getting that old blood with the carbon dioxide out, right? Good stuff. So base, body, move that body, get it up into a place where you are just feeling good. I always kind of joke around like, pick a superhero position, just stand like a superhero, that whatever your superhero would be, right? And you can just feel the difference in your body. That's like, you maybe have heard of the pencil trick. Like if you're kind of a frowny face, you put the pencil in your mouth and when you bite it, it actually forces you to smile. And for like the first 5 to 10 seconds, you're like, this is really stupid and I don't like it. And after 10 seconds, you've been smiling and suddenly you're laughing. I've done this with my kids. It truly works. So you want to really look at, how is my body right now? And I'm not saying you need to go and get on a stretcher, or do a Pilates routine or whatever, but just give yourself some energy and some movement. Breathe deep. Get that body in a position where it can work for you at its best capacity. The second thing in B.A.S.E is A, our attention. What are we attending our thoughts to? I like to think of our thoughts like a customer that's come into our restaurant. Our brain is the restaurant, right? And we're the server. Our attention is the server. And say you have a really mean table here, right? Those bad thoughts, those limiting beliefs, all the things that are, all that self-talk that's bringing you down. And over here, you have this great table that is just, you enjoy being with them, right? You're joking around. They're great, like no problems, right? These are the good thoughts. These are the ones that make you excited about life, that make you feel good, right? Who do you want to be attending to? I wonder. So where is your attention going? Because whatever it is focusing on, you are going to bring more of that, because that's going to change the way that you behave, and our behavior is going to create reactions from people, right? That gets us more of the way we're putting ourselves out there. So what are you attending your thoughts to? Make sure you're attending to the excitement, the pleasure, the joy, the dreaming, and all of those things. Get those little negative Nellies out of your mind before you sit down to do this, because we don't want that energy going on our board. Which brings us to the third part of B.A.S.E, which is S for speech. What are the words, the speech that you commonly use? And notice a lot of the times we speak in metaphors. So for example, you might have heard like, I always feel like I'm drowning in debt, or I feel like I'm on a hamster wheel. Okay, do you hear it? Well, no wonder you're always feeling like this, because you keep telling yourself this is what life is like. And so your brain just wants to make you right. It's like, oh, okay, well, let's make sure that we're always on a hamster wheel, right? Something's always going to happen somehow that's going to put us on a hamster wheel. And it might feel like it's external circumstances. Sometimes it is. However, our thoughts and the way we react to the world can end up making a lot of that things happen too. So it's kind of a little bit of both. So we want to make sure that the speech that we're using is powerful, is captivating, like really just like, ooh, it jazzes you up. For example, I'm sure you've heard of some people that have a theme around their year, right? Like they choose a word. This year is the year of serenity. This year is the year of this, right? Well, that is good. That is fine. I have one too. Use words that draw emotion out of you, like, but in a good way, right? Not like this year is gonna suck. You can make it that way, but that's not the words that we want. We want empowering words. We want those words that when we hear them, they just juice us up and make us go, yeah. So, for example, I had written down some words when I was going through my yearly kind of review, thinking like, what do I really want? What is this year about for me? And purpose kept coming up. I kept getting drawn back to purpose out of this list of words, and I was like, okay, I like purpose, but it just wasn't lighting me up. There was something about it where I was drawn to it, but it didn't feel right. And so I just kind of kept going back to my list. And then I thought about, who am I? Who do I like to be? What is it that really makes me just full of energy, that gives me life, that makes me have fun? And then I realized playful. It's actually one of my top values too. Playful. And all of a sudden I was like, playful purpose. And I put the two together, and those two words, suddenly it was like, boom, lightning strike, energy. And it was the answer that I was looking for. And I was excited about saying those words in regards to my life. I was like, this year is about playful purpose. Putting them together just made sense, and it made me want to move forward. So really pay attention to that speech. Sometimes we're using words on our vision board, right? Make sure those words resonate with you in a way that excite you, that empower you, that want to make you achieve them. So we have body, attention, speech, which equals our E, which is energy. Okay, we have 3 different states of energy: energy rich, energy neutral, energy poor. We tend to probably hang out in energy neutral a lot. We have some dips into energy poor, let's be real, right? This house is so dirty. But we also want to have those highs, those energy highs. It's good to have all of them. We need contrast in our life. I'm not saying to never be energy poor. That's just not realistic. When we're going to do our vision board, though, where do you want to be? Do you want to be in an energy poor state where you're throwing that into the future vision of your life, or do you want to be more energy rich? And so if you bring all of those elements of your base together, now you see, okay, if I start from this position of excitement, this position of just enthusiasm and ready to go, and now suddenly your brain opens up and it's like, I'm allowed to dream. I am allowed to just whatever, no holds barred. She's not going to poo poo it this time. I get to just throw things out there. We'll worry about what's maybe we don't want to put on the list later. But for right now, now that we have ourselves in a peak state, we're going to move into that dream state, that dreaming of just letting it go, letting it rip. And before you start choosing your pictures or putting down your phrases, this dreaming part is so important. You really want to get it out there. And I like to think about all the different areas of my life, because sometimes when we start dreaming, we kind of go just in one direction and we forget about other things. And then later you're looking at your vision board and you're like, well, I feel lopsided. What's going on? Oh, I completely forgot about my family, or whatever it is. And, a vision board isn't written in stone, so you can always go back and add to it or take off of it. So don't feel like this is it. This is my whole life. Remember, it is something that you can readdress and you can change. However, when you're going through it, sometimes you can create that more cohesive picture when you're thinking of all the different areas. And now it's like, oh, if I do this, that's going to affect here. Okay. What if I go for these things and it works all together? So I'm just going to list it out for you. Areas to think about. You have your mental, you have emotional, physical, your spiritual, the friendships that you have, your finances, the education. Do you want to continue to educate yourself? That doesn't necessarily mean you have to go back to school, but what are the books or the podcasts or the classes that you're taking? Adventure and vacation. That's a big one. We don't want to forget about that. Where are the places that you want to go, the adventures you want to have? Business, your career, what are you looking to achieve in that area of your life? And then giving, which is sometimes something we forget to put on there. And it's so powerful in our lives. When you have the chance to go out and give back, you feel it and it feeds you in a way that nothing else can. So make sure that's a part of your list as well. And when you start dreaming, like I said, you're going to notice that there's areas that you're tending to really focus on. That's probably the big priority for you right now, right? Whatever it is in your life where you feel like you've been on the struggle bus, you'll be like, I want this, But we don't want to neglect those other areas too, because we want them to stay strong. Or again, we can see how they connect, how they can co-create each other. So have that big dream session. Let it all out. You know the drill. No idea is a stupid idea. You can make it stupid later. But while you're dreaming, just have fun. Put it down. You write down, like my husband, one time he put, I want to pay $1 million in taxes. It's like record scratch. What? And he said, well, if I'm paying $1 million in taxes, do you know how much that means I'm making? And I was like, good reframe. Didn't think about that. So don't poo-poo it. Just put it down. Put it all down and have, right? If you want to make it even bigger, make it bigger. Doesn't matter. This is the no judgment zone time. And then once you have done that, you can go through and you can start to notice, what are the things that are really important? What is it that I'm actually going after? Because we might be putting the really cool car, the really big house, the this, the that, these things, but what is the feeling that you think that that's going to bring you? And now we can start to see, this is what I'm really going after. And sometimes that can create clarity in an area where maybe it was just kind of jumbled. It was like, so for example, back in 2010, when I created that vision board, I just had so much fun with it. I did some photoshopping because, I'd been single for a while. So I took my favorite actor. I took my best picture of myself. I put us together. Didn't we look so cute? And I knew that the feeling that I was going for, because in my life, was I just wanted to be in a deep relationship with someone that I was excited about and that was excited about me. Because I had been in a relationship before where I was excited about it, but they certainly weren't excited about me. They were just excited about a whole lot of people. And that's not what I wanted. So that gave me clarity, right? And so that was a way for me. And around that, it was like, okay, well, where am I wanting this to lead? Do I just want a relationship? No, I want this to be a marriage. I want this to create my family. I want this to be my future, right? And so around that area, not only did I have the picture of me with the movie star, I had the picture of a family. You know, it was a mom and a dad and two kids holding hands on the beach. I had the animals. I had a gray cat and a white cat put together, snuggled on a couch because I wanted the animals. All of these things were what that relationship was driving me towards. So I had clarity with what I wanted. So when I saw those pictures or I read the phrases, it wasn't just, you know, like, oh, hey, I want a hot hookup or I want to date someone. It was like, no, I am looking for that relationship that is going to be the journey of my life. It's going to be my family. It's going to be my legacy. And that changes that, right? So really, if you can look at what are those feelings that you're really going after, what is it that you want, that's going to help direct you in creating that vision. So I probably should have prefaced this a little while ago, but a vision board is something that you want to do when you have some time. This is not like, I got 5 minutes. Let me slap some things together here and here. All right, we're getting a vision board done. Remember, this is your life that you're planning. This is your future. This is what you want to be living. This deserves some time and some focus, okay? So now we've got all of this stuff together. We found our themes. We found what it is that we really want. We have those power words, if we want to put phrases, the words that really move us and create that feeling and emotion in us that we want. Now we can start putting it together. Because sometimes just flipping through a magazine, you just settle for the pictures that are in there versus, okay, this isn't going to work, but oh, this is definitely going to fit in with that theme. And it doesn't have to be, you know, like, for example, I had a picture of this house that had just it was the back of the house. It was all windows, just lots of windows. And it was facing out to this beautiful greenery. So it wasn't like my dream house. When I saw it, it was like, I don't want that. It was like, that has to be my exact house. So, you know, people have done that. That wasn't the thing. It was just like, I want this home where I just feel like I'm surrounded by beautiful nature, that I have the windows and beautiful space to look out, that it feels spacious, that I'd be happy to have my family in, that friends would be cool. I knew the feeling behind it, and that picture fit the bill. Does that make sense? So you don't have to worry about like, it's an exact replica of what you must have. It doesn't give you that feeling because in your mind, you know what you're shooting for. So I'll get into that a little bit later, but that's what we're now looking for when we're diving into our pictures and creating our phrases. And any phrase that you put up there, by the way, you want to make sure that it's in present tense. You may have heard of this before, but we don't want to put it into the future because guess what? It will always be in the future to your brain. We want to put it in the current tense. We want it to be present. We want it for our brain to recognize this is my identity that I am now. And I may not have the physical things here with me. It doesn't matter. I am this person. And because I am this person, those physical things will show up. So create any phrases that you're putting on there in the present tense. And we also do want to have that clarity and specificity. Now, you're saying, you just told me I don't have to have the exact house that I want, Mitch. No, you don't. You do need to know, like I said, behind it, what is it that you're shooting for? So for example, a lot of times I've even done this I have a picture of just piles of money. I want piles of money. I want to be Scrooge McDuck and I want to go swimming in my money. Well, we want to have a little bit more specificity when we know what we want. For example, what Andrew said, I want to pay $1 million in taxes. That's really specific because that means he has to make a certain amount of money in order to do that, right? And we're not talking like back taxes that you haven't paid in years and years. So, you know, a lot of money, if you're just putting, I want a lot of money. Well, a lot of money to you right now may not be a lot of money to you in 5 years. And so we want to know that a little more specific. It's like a GPS. Imagine you get in your car, you're parked in the garage, and you put into your GPS, I want to go out. You just type in out. And first of all, your GPS is going to be like, I don't know where that is, but open the garage door, back up into the driveway, and then it's going to say, you have arrived. You are now out. We want to be a little more directional in where we're heading, knowing that direction, right? I don't want to be like, oh, a lot of money is $10,000. That is a lot of money, right? But that's not the lot of money that I'm talking about for my life. So that's why I want to give my brain a little more specificity and clarity and have that upfront knowing of this is what this represents. If I'm going to put that pile of money on it, I might even write in a number on it. I want this number for my bank account. And that's just going to help guide my GPS system of, okay, got it. So, like if someone happens to give you $100 right here. Yeah, that's a lot of money for someone to just hand you, right? Just for fun, for nice. But that's not the goal, right? That's not my piles of money. So that's why we want to have that clarity. Okay, so now we have the board. Here's the other thing. Size doesn't matter. Position matters. Now, let me clarify, because I know some of you are starting to wander off, but the size of your vision board doesn't matter. I've done it like that 2010 when it literally took up the whole door of my closet because that was right next to my bed. It was the first thing that I would see in the morning. So I would just scan it from top to bottom, right? So it was my whole door. It was just little things taped up all over. I've also done it where I've just photoshopped and I've put it on like an 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 11.5 paper, and I have it there and I carry it around with me, right? So it's not necessarily thinking like there's no specific size. You don't have to have all of those areas represented. I'm just giving you the ideas of where to be looking. Just make it something that feels good for you. The position matters though, because if you tuck it away and you never look at it again, it ain't gonna do you much good. So we want to position it in a place that you're going to see every day, preferably multiple times a day, because we're reminding our brain. We're reminding our brain. Oh, I passed by again. Oh, reminding our brain. Our brain's looking at it. It's soaking it in. It's remembering this is who I am now. Just got to get the things to match up with it. So the positioning of where you put this matters. Make it somewhere that you see it every day. And if you want to have like a wall version and then you take a snapshot and you have the snapshot version on your phone, whatever, you can have multiple ones that you carry around. That's fine. Again, don't get lost in the minutia. Just understand the big picture of this. Okay. So I told you at the beginning, you want to stick around to the end because I'm going to give you a little tweak that's going to be the difference maker on making this thing work. And yes, I am the proof of it because I have done it many times. Let's rewind back to 2010. I'm in my peak state. I make my vision board. I have words that produce powerful emotion out of me. I have pictures that give me clarity about what it is that I'm wanting. I have it on my door. I put it in a position where I can see it every day, multiple times a day. First thing when I wake up, last thing when I go to bed, a couple of times when I'm in my room, right? All of that is good. And then what happened? The first thing on there that came true, I was like, holy crap, this stuff actually works. What I did though was I took that picture off of my vision board and I moved it over to the side. It wasn't very far. It was like right next to it. But I put this has happened. This is mine. I don't know. I never really made a name for it, but this has happened board. So now when I would look at my vision board, I would see all of this is mine. Look right next door because I already see that it has happened. I have proof. And that is just a little tweak that can make all of the difference. And if you want to start with something like a friend buys me a cup of coffee or invites me over to dinner or just something simple that you know this can happen, put it on the board. Give your brain some backup data that this is my life, okay? And then when it happens, you take it off, you put it next to the vision board. See? Bing. That has happened. This is who I am. And here's the crazy thing. Okay, so 2010, I make that board. I meet my husband, Andrew. Let's see, when did I make it? Probably in January, maybe February. I meet Andrew in March. I didn't know he was going to be my husband at the time. In fact, we had a little bit of a long, well, actually it wasn't that long. It was like 6 or 7 months, but there was 6 or 7 months where he knew it. I didn't know it. The point is though, this stuff was happening. We ended up getting married. We had the family, had the 2 kids. And what's even crazier is this was probably maybe a year into our marriage. He had a gray cat when we got married, Kitty. And right before we got married, we ended up adopting another little cat who was white at the time. He was white when we got him. He ended up getting darker later, but at the time he was white. And one day I was walking through the house and they were laying on the couch together. And I'm just like, what? And I stop. And it was just like, boom. Holy crap. That's the picture from my vision board. I had a gray cat and a white cat snuggling up together, laying down. And there's this gray cat and this white cat snuggling up together, laying down in my house, and they're mine. And it was just like, whoa, guess what? Off the vision board onto the It Happened board. And so, I mean, it's not like we went out and bought this gray cat, but it happened, and even if it was two cats that were different colors, the point is, I'm getting this stuff off of my vision board. So now we fast forward to 2020 when we built this house. And so it's not a cabin in the woods. We're not surrounded by these tall pine trees like that house was. But at the back of my house, I have a 16-foot slider glass door. And then on each side, the rooms have these huge windows. And one day I was sitting there and I'm looking out, and behind us we have this ranch that has horses on it, and there's lots of trees, and they have a stock tank. And I was just sitting there kind of enjoying the view of nature through all of these windows in this open home that my family lives in and that we have guests over all the time. And it suddenly hit me and I went, oh, it's my vision board. 10 years later, 10 years later, it still happened though. So guess what? Off the vision board, onto the It Happened board. So don't put time frames on your vision board. Like if it doesn't happen like that, don't discount it and say, this stuff doesn't work. No, it's working. It's working. And the other key to making it work, besides This Happened board, is the way you approach this vision board every day. So the vision boards in the past that I had, I always made it out of a sense of longing and lack, right? I don't have this. I really want it. Oh my gosh. And so I was telling my brain, I was putting it into my body that I don't have this. Just the energy around. You see that difference? If you're watching, you can see that difference of my energy. It was more like I was begging for it. And so I put myself in a position of every time I looked at it, begging for this to happen. Not that it is mine. And it's just a matter of time before physically these things show up and then I'm that person. No, it was, I'm the person that will have to beg for this stuff. And if I'm lucky, something will happen on there. And that's why those vision boards never worked for me, because the energy behind it was bad. So with this one, I had put myself in the peak state. I used powerful words. I had pictures. I had clarity, all of that stuff. And when I would look at it in the morning, I would just look at it and I would scan it and I'd read it, all the words, look at the pictures, and I would say, got it. Got it. And then anytime I passed by, I'd just stop and I'd look at it and I'd scan it, read it. Got it. Got it. And I wasn't looking at it like, this is taking so long, or I can't believe I put that. That's so stupid. It's never going to happen. I just had the energy of, I put it there. It's going to happen. Don't know when, but it's mine. It's already mine. I am that person that is making this come to fruition. And man, if 10 years later, I'm still not getting stuff on it, well, now it's a little bit more than 10 years, but you get what I'm saying is the energy that I put into it was one of, it's already mine. I got it. I'm just remembering what's on my grocery list, right? You write a grocery list, you're going to get the stuff when you go to the store. It's the same thing. My vision board, it's my grocery list for my life. Got it. I'm going to get it. I'm already that person. And so the energy had completely shifted, and the amount of things that started coming true on that, like, shoot, I put that I wanted to go to Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins. This is back in 2010. I have no money. I'm barely making rent. Nothing's going on. And that program was, I don't know, what, $5,000, $6,000 at the time, right? Back in 2010. Like, where am I going to come up with this stuff? Someone gifted it to me. I kid you not, that same freaking year, I went to Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins. Someone gifted it to me. All I had to do was pay for my flight and my hotel. I could handle that. It was mine. Guess where that went? On the It Happened board. As you can see, I get really excited because when you do this right, the things that happen are absolutely amazing. And I want that for you, okay? It's just little tweaks. The difference between, I'll take it back to Tony Robbins because he always says the difference between great and outstanding, 2 millimeters. It's just subtle little shifts. And that's what we're working on here. Okay. So now you've got all the goods. Go out there, take the time, do it right. Have fun with this, play with this. It's your life that you're creating. And guess what? You can do it over if you want to. It's not stuck in stone. So don't feel like, I can't put this on there because what if? Just take it off if you don't want it on there at another time. Okay. It's all good. So my ask for you is I would love for you to share this with a friend so that they can get this too. And you guys can go and lock arms and do this together and find your dreams happening together. Working with a partner, having that energy to go along with you so you're not alone. totally changes how life can happen for you. So share this with a friend, commit to doing it together, and comment. Let me know what it was in here that really resonated with you, or if there was the tweak that made a difference for you. I would love to hear this. And of course, I would love it if you would subscribe, leave a review. That helps other people find this. And I thank you for that in advance. But, we're going to end up with a joke. I actually found one on goals. Okay. Ready? So my goal this year is to save enough money to make a Velcro wall, and I'm going to stick to it. Okay, with that, go out there, make it fun, make it rich. I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.